Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and I think the folks at Humble have stumbled upon a winning formula. What they do is they take a good bundle and they make it great. How do they make it great? Well, of course, they add Godot to it. Now, I covered this last weekend, I think it was. They have an existing game programming book bundle. This has C++ and Unreal Engine books. The way they made it better? Well, they went ahead and added some Godot books to it. So you can see over here, we have these books over here were all added to the bundle. Pretty smart move. It makes the bundle definitely much more appealing. I have another video about that if you want to learn more. I will have links down below as well. And then what they actually went one step further at an Inception level, and they took their Godot bundle and added even more Godot to it. So this is a Godot training bundle from Zenva, and you see all of these red ones here? Well, they were added to the bundle after the fact. So if you bought this bundle, you got a bunch more Godot content for free, and if you were looking at the bundle, well, it had a bunch more Godot courses in it. Again, I will have these links down below. Well, there was one other bundle, and I have to apologize for this one because I missed it the first time around. It is the Audio Odyssey bundle, and this one is a collection of soundtracks and special effects for games, but it also comes with a couple of game engine plugins to make use of those soundtracks. And the reason I kind of missed this one is there's been a lot of soundtrack bundles on Humble lately, and they're kind of getting a little spammy. This one is much different because these are actually game-ready soundtracks. They've actually got multiple different intensity levels, so you can use them in your game. I'll show you exactly what I mean in just a minute, but all of these soundtracks were made for games, so you can ramp up the intensity to like dynamically and programmatically match your game. I missed that completely, so I didn't cover this bundle when it was first announced. And then the reason why I'm covering it today is, well, they've added Godot to it. So that's the magic of secret sauce. If you've got something, you want to make it better, add a little Godot. So I'm going to show you exactly how the Godot plugin works, which, by the way, there's also plugins here for Unreal Engine and Unity. So if you want to use these soundtracks programmatically with those engines, you can do it. You could probably do all the code yourself to do this stuff, but why do it when someone else will do the work for you? So we got a number of different soundtracks across different genres. I'll show you exactly how these are organized. We got genres here like ambient, chiptune, horror, unplugged metal, electronic, and so on. So we got a couple different horror ones in there. And then the cool thing here also is there's a number of special effects packs. These are, Foley effects, etc., ready for your game. You've got horror, you've got action effects, monsters, retro, motion impacts, computers and machines, etc. And I'll show you some of those in action as well. If you do not know how Humble works, it's a collection of stuff organized into tiers. You buy a holiday value tier, you get all of the stuff from the tiers below it. So you're getting every single thing in this bundle for $20 USD. There is also a $1 tier. At that tier, you're getting 4 music packs and 2 sound effect packs. It is the median tier that has all the plugins, by the way. So the new Godot plugin is here. So 22 versus 27, so I guess you're looking at about $16 USD to get the median tier if you're interested, but generally, this is the only tier that makes sense if the $1 tier doesn't have what you want. You decide how your money is allocated between Humble Charity, the publisher, and if you so choose to do, and thank you so much if you do, to help support Game From Scratch. The way this works is you get a redemption key on their website. It is Ovani Sound, and then no need to give them a credit card or anything. You just kind of sign up with whatever credentials you want to use. They will send you an email with all of the links there. Plus, you can log back into the site using the email you signed up with and download them that way. Each one comes in a variety of different zip files. So, for example, here are a number of them brought down. The motion effects, for example, 85 megabytes, whereas the metal soundtrack is about 1 gigabyte in size. I'm only going to showcase the Godot plugin today, by the way. The other stuff is Unreal and Unity. Probably work very similar, but I know a lot of my channel is probably most interested in Godot. And quite frankly, Godot could use this functionality more than the other engines. So I'm going to show you exactly how you'd use the Godot plugin. And while doing that, I'm also going to show you what some of these soundtracks sound like. So we're going to go ahead and install the Godot plugin. In order to do that, we need a Godot project. So let's go on over here. We will create a new project. Let's call this Odd E-O. Okay, there we go. And we'll put this in temp, of course, because that is where all things must be created. Cancel. Create the folder. Create and edit. How many times do you guys do that in Godot? I do that one friggin' all the time. All right, so here we go. Godot is fired up. Let's go ahead and do the install process. Let me get it on full screen here. Let's go back here. I'll go over to our downloads. What you want to do is find the Godot plugin, and then you will find a folder called Godot plugins. By the way, yours will have a 50 megabyte video in it. You can go ahead and delete that. That's the tutorial video. But what you want to do is just drop this in there, and you are now installed. So that is what is required to install this guy. Not really that hard. Now you're going to want to go ahead and get some music in here as well. So we're going to go back on over here. You're going to notice that the tracks are all built in. So downloads, I'll use a metal example. Each genre has a number of different tracks in it. So you can see here we've got different themes. So sets and riffs, sludge, androids, Titan, blah, blah, blah. Again, these are all metal themed soundtracks. What I'm going to do is pick the doomed one. So what we can see here is we just grab all 5 of the files. So these are different intensity levels. And what we're going to do is just basically drag and drop that into our project so it will import those sound files for us. All right, so we have 5 different WAV files to use for this soundtrack. Now what we can go ahead and do is create a new song from that. Go ahead and create a new resource like so. And what you're going to want to do is scroll on down and you will find it there. It's called Ovani Song. Like so. And go ahead and create one of those. And it will call this My Metal Tune. All right, so there we go. So we're opening that up, and then what you're going to notice is that it'll take an input for each different level of intensity. What you just want to do is drop the intensities over. So intensity 1 goes into intensity 1, intensity 2 goes into intensity 2, and then intensity main goes into intensity 3, like so. And then we've got these 2 loop versions, 30 and 60-second versions. We're going to drop that into the loop 30 and loop 60. Like so, and you can choose which ones you want to work with. Song mode, you can have loop 30, loop 60, or intensities. We're just going to demonstrate intensities in this particular case. All of the sound files, by the way, are in this format, so you're going to have those multiple different versions of things. So now that you've got a sound available, how do you go ahead and use it? Well, what we do, we'll create a new scene like so, and now let's add a node in it. So click here. And we are going to create a node of type Ovani player, like so. Just add that into your scene, and you are set up and ready to go. Now, you'll notice you can queue up a number of different songs. So we've created this one metal song here. I could create multiple songs and queue them all up here. But I'm just going to go ahead and do one in this case. So we'll go ahead here. We'll add an element to it. So we have an element 0, and we will take our newly created song and apply it right there. So now we are ready to go with our song. You can actually preview it like here. So that is a metal tune with full intensity. Now what I can actually do, with low intensity. So watch. See, low intensity. And then you blend up to the second song, and then the full. So you see, if you want to do like your traditional like Doom and the energy starts pumping, what you do in your game, in your algorithm, is crank up the intensity or the volume as you go. By the way, volume is all done in decibels, and my little simpleton brain never understands decibels, but I'll explain that a little bit as we go. So now let's show you there's actually a code side to this as well. So you can use these things programmatically. It's a pretty simple process. What we're going to do is go ahead and attach a script to this guy right here, and boom, like so. And we've never run this scene, so we'll go ahead and run, select current, save our scene. We're good to go. All right. So there is our song playing as we go. So now that we've got this script attached, I can show you how to actually edit this code. I got a script editor set up poorly. Okay, so here we are in the GD script for this function. And let's get a reference to our player. So var player of type Ovani player, like so. And then when we first load up right here, we'll get a reference to it. So player equals get node. I should be able to spell. And then it's our Ovani player node. So we just have a handy reference to it right there. And then what we could do is change the intensity that we work with right off the top. So we could do something like this. So there's property. Properties of available and exposed. So intensity equals 0. So we'll start with 0 intensity. By the way, if you do come up here, you will find Ovani. So Ovani song and Ovani player both have documentation available that walk you through the functions and the properties that are exposed for them. I do have some problems getting initial code completion to work, but I think that's a Godot 4.1 thing. Eventually, it will start working, by the way. For some reason, we have issues there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do something very, very stupid, but we'll start with 0 intensity. Also go ahead, let's go back to our 3D scene over here, select our player, and make sure, okay, so our intensity is set to 0. And then in our script, what we're going to do is every frame, we'll just jack the intensity up a little bit. So just shows you how you can do some simple playing around with things. So as long as our intensity is less than full, what we are going to do is player.intensity equals player.intensity plus 0.001. So a very small amount each frame, like so, and this is going to blend up the intensity as we go. So here we go, very simple example. So we got the chiptune version, and then we're going to get more thrashy metal as you go along, and now we're in the full thrash version of it. So that is one particular thing you could do with the coding side of things. We'll go back up here. There's other things you can do as well. So I could come in here and say player.fade volume, fade volume, and this is like doing a tween basically. So I'm going to do down to -40 decibels, and we're going to do this over a period of 12 seconds, like so. And this is going to fire off very first time I fire up this code. So you can fade volume over time, like this, and then you're going to hear it over a 12-second period. It's going down to -40 decibels. And gone. So you do have the programmatic ability over your music, etc., which is actually pretty cool. So that's what the plugin is here for. Again, the documentation is, oops, did not mean to hit that button. The documentation is fully in here, same for songs. So you got other things in here, like you can queue up songs, you can play a song immediately, you can switch between different songs, that kind of stuff. So all of the songs and all of the soundtracks in this particular bundle, in this guy right here, are set up that way. So you have those 5 different files that you would use, so then you can ramp up the intensity between the different soundtracks, which is all actually pretty cool. Now, I haven't talked about the sound effects at all, and they're pretty straightforward. So we're going to go here, we'll take a quick look at them. We're not going to look at them in a game engine, I'll just look at them in general. These are straightforward, so you can use them in whichever environment you want. So here I've got the Hollywood action, for example, and you go in here and you're just going to notice it's broken down into a variety of different, so you got weapons, ambience, environments, explosion, melee fights. So go into weapon, and you can break it down. We got heavy weapons, pistols, rifles, shotguns. I'll go into heavy, and then you're going to find that I have things like miniguns and rocket launchers and bazookas. So here's a bazooka shot. Here is a different bazooka shot. And then we go back. So sound effects are always a nice thing to have. We got ambience here, so slum with ambulances and so just general environmental ambience pack. Here's a train terminal. And let's go back over here. So we got explosions here. So let's do a car explosion. And kind of cool. So you got a ton of different special effects packs in here as well. That's just one of the genres. You get an idea of the kind of stuff that's in there. I have another one here. I'm not going to really play examples from it, but you get an idea. So here's the motion whooshes and impacts. Open that one up, you're going to see you have impacts, risers, whooshes, motion. So impacts, you've got things like electrical impact, hell drum, throw, stomp, and so on. So you got just a large variety of sound effect packs in here as well, and some music genre packs as well. So you got things like monsters, retro game sounds, and so on, computers and machines. And then, of course, a number of different soundtracks in here. You got a medieval sound effect in here as well. It is a great bundle even without the plugins, but adding the plugin in to kind of give you the ability to mix the intensities of the stuff, it makes it much more game-ready soundtrack stuff. So that does appear to be the trick here. What you do, you take a good bundle like this one, and then you just add some Godot to it, and it becomes an even better bundle. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. Again, this bundle has been running for a little while now. I'm sorry I didn't cover it initially. I didn't realize it was actually as good as it was. I thought it was another one of their spam bundles. I didn't realize this one is as aimed at game development as it actually is. That dynamic soundtrack thing and the ability to ramp between them, that is actually really quite cool. So this one has been running for quite a while. You don't have a lot of time to think about picking this one up. I'm sorry about that. I would have covered it right away had I known. By the way, again, there is also that book bundle going on right now that they did add Godot to. There's also the Zenva course bundle. This one's got to be getting closer to the end. Yeah, this one's coming up to the end as well. And by the way, just so you know about it, there is also a Synty bundle, and this one works incredibly well in Godot, works in any game engine. I've actually been using these demos in my various different game engine hands-on, because I think Synty assets look great, but this bundle is also running as well. So there's a ton of stuff for Godot engine developers out there, or just game engine developers in general. I have to applaud Humble. They've really kind of been paying attention to what's going on in the world, and they're taking advantage of it. So again, let me know what you think of the Audio Odyssey bundle. Are you interested in it? What do you think of the plugins? Again, I'm not covering the Unity and Unreal Engine plugins, but they do the same sort of thing, and just obviously for different game engines. So if you're using a different engine, there is functionality in there for blending these different sounds together. But a ton of different genres, a decent number of sound effect packs, and the plugins to control them. Neat bundle for sure. Let me know what you think. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.